we've got an exciting and a very interesting and informative session today. So, for those people who may not be aware, we're talking about the immune system. Right? The one of the problems that we have in society today is our problems with the immune system, and that's colds, flus, RSV, COVID. Everybody's familiar with COVID. Okay. And it's, since 2020 has been a major problem in not only in the United States, but in the world as well. So, what do these things have in common? Including cancer. What do these things have in common? The immune system. They're all conditions that impact the immune system. There are other conditions that impact the immune system as well. And so, what I'm going to share in the body of this call is going to address those things as well, so we know what to do. Okay. Now, all of us, guess what? All of us are going to pass away at some point. But many of us, probably most of us, don't want to die by our own hands. And if we can do something, if we can learn something for ourselves, for our loved ones, that will enable us to enhance the quality of our lives while we're here. Nobody can guarantee the quantity, but if we can enhance the quality of our lives, then so be it. Okay? So I'm going to talk about what the immune system is, what it does. I will talk about some medical approaches, what systems of the body and what conditions the immune system is involved in, and what are some signs of a weakened immune system. And then I'll talk about the alternative approaches and some options so that people can know what to do and know what they can know what to do for themselves, their loved ones, their communities, so that we can live long and prosper, ideally. And we can suffer less. A little story about me. When I was 10 years of age, by the time I was 10, I got my tonsils and my adenoids removed. And this was, from, I guess, what they thought were allergies. They thought I had a problem with my tonsils, and it was really a problem with my immune system. Some was having sinus problems, tonsillitis, much less frequent tonsillitis, inflamed tonsils, and a lot of these respiratory things. It's not just because we live in Michigan or because of the climate. It's because our immune system is being challenged. And oftentimes that'll relate to our diet, some allergies, or something that's going on. And if we don't recognize that, then we're going to have problems. So at 10, tonsils, adenoids, and sinus work and all this taken care of, they said, oh, you're going to get your tonsils out. And at that time, it was something really popular. And they tried to make it positive. They say the good thing is you're going to be able to eat all the ice cream that you want to after you have this surgery. Like, that's a bonus, right? And so I did have, I'm 10, so I'm doing what my parents had worked out with the doctors, going to the hospital, have the procedure. But I tell you, my throat felt terrible afterwards. It was so sore. And they did offer me ice cream. I do remember that. But that ice cream hitting my sore tonsils just made it worse. It didn't make it any better. I think they were saying that, one, is an inducement to children. Two, because supposedly the ice cream was supposed to take down the inflammation. It was supposed to soothe the throat, and if anything, it made it worse. Okay, but that was my first bout. My second bout was when I was 17. I was 17. I was in my senior year of high school, and the winter hit, and I'd gotten a cold or flu. I don't recall exactly what they diagnosed me with first, but that went from, again, either a cold or flu to, I was diagnosed with what you call infectious mononucleosis. You may have heard of it as mono. that developed into that progressed, and then I end up getting German measles or rubella. I was sick for a solid month in the senior year of high school in the middle of winter. Okay, my parents were working, my sisters were out of the house, and there were times I had to walk to the doctor to to get checked out. But this is a solid month. My high school instructors thought that I probably had senioritis and was skipping, because a lot of students do that in their senior year. That wasn't the case at all. I was very sick, and it almost caused me to one lose my life, and secondly not graduate and not graduate on time. And I say not lose my life or almost lose my life because I was having a hard time breathing through my nose or my throat. I was just barely. I mean, my breathing was labored. I was losing weight, and I was having a hard time eating as well. So I don't know how many people have gone through something like that, but I tell you, if your respiratory system shuts down, um, it's not it's not no fun. There's no fun, no glory in that. So I suffered through that for that period of time, and I think it was at that point that I really kind of made one of those agreements with God. You know how if you're feeling real sick, anybody who's been real sick, feeling real sick, and you say, "Oh God, if I get through this, I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna, tell me what I need to do. Show me a direction." Because here it is. I was, in when you're a teenager, you're in the prime of your life. You don't expect to get sick like that. But unfortunately, more young people are getting sick and getting respiratory ailments, getting asthma, emphysema, bronchitis, all types of things. We're getting sicker sooner and we're dying earlier than ever before. Diabetes, all types of ailments. So these are attention getters. These are considered common ailments. These are a lot of chronic, illnesses that are impacting our immune system, and then some are impacting our digestive system. But I'll talk more about digestive system problems at another time. This time we're going to talk about the vital immune system. It's again, especially in the wake of these recent ailments. We've had colds. Colds have been common, and many people, still get colds. Once a year. Sometimes a couple times a year, summer colds and things. And then there's a cold and flu season. Okay, so these are some things that are expected, and they say, okay, we'll get your flu shot um, because you are going to um, be susceptible at a certain period of time, a certain time of year, to getting flus, and the flus change. So every year they want you to get a different flu shot, and they say, "Oh, it's something different. It morphed into something different. No, something different this year." So colds and flus have been common, but this COVID was something different, and this RSV something different, and it's getting worse. So is it just that these ailments are getting worse, or is it something within us that's causing the problems? Okay. You may very well know that, or have heard that people of color were more susceptible to COVID, especially if they had pre-existing pre-existing conditions, or what's also known as comorbidities. Now, what are comorbidities? If you got high blood pressure, if you've got some kind of respiratory problem, if you got some ailment, if you got diabetes, if you have something generally that you're taking medication for on a regular basis, you have a comorbidity. You have pre-existing condition that means you're kind of already in a weakened state and more susceptible to these illnesses. Okay, more susceptible to COVID, more susceptible to contracting something or getting it worse. Now, sometimes they say, well, the elderly needs to be careful. You need to be careful with babies, the elderly, or people who have weakened immune system. If you got certain conditions, they'll normally say that. And sometimes they wouldn't give people the COVID vaccination because because they had pre-existing conditions, okay, because they were already at a weakened state. And so sometimes that exempts people from taking vaccinations. They're like, okay, if you're already sick and we give you this, we can't say that you're not going to get worse. You're at high risk. So again, people of color and people with pre-existing conditions were more susceptible to contracting and succumbing to and passing from COVID. Okay. So what's the answer? What are you getting to, Dr. Brown? Here's the problem. Is it sicker? We're getting sicker sooner, dying faster. We know there's problems with the air, the food, the water, the environment. There's all these things that are going on that are impacting us. Okay. They're even trying to attribute some things to, yeah. And you got the alarms going, and you got, people getting rushed to the hospital because of all these different ailments that are going on. Is it genetics or is it something else? Is there something that we can do about it? And more as we find out, as we learn more, we find out that there are some things that we can do. There are some things that our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents did years ago. There are some things that we can do today to increase and improve our chances of avoiding illnesses, or two, recovering from them and not dying from them. Okay. So that's what I want to share with you today. That's I consider to be so vital. And this is being recorded. So we're live on Facebook, it's being recorded, and it'll be available on our YouTube channel as well. So thanks for being here and with me. And I want you to be fully engaged and to have your questions. So when questions come up, I'm going to have a time for you to answer those questions as well, and I'll answer them the best I can. And some things may be answered in a future broadcast, but we're going to get to this so that you can be a healer in your home in some respect. Okay. Many of you already are. Many of your mothers and sisters and aunts and fathers and other people who are caring for other people, you're healers in your home. And we want to help you in becoming more of a healer, a stronger healer, a more well-informed and well-armed healer as well. So for those people in Zoom, and I invite those people who are on Facebook to join us on Zoom as well. But for those people who are on Zoom, we'll ask you to fill out the poll. We're going to be going to that towards the end as well. But I'm going to share a little something here with you. I've got a presentation that will be a benefit in terms of explaining what I shared about the immune system. Here we go. First of all, introduction to the immune system. So instead of just saying colds, flus, and those things, the system that we're talking about is the immune system. Okay. Now we have a number of systems of the body. The number varies depending on which ones we're counting and how we're counting them. Okay, so it's about 11 systems. There's also another system or two that has been more recently discovered, but I'll delineate the different systems of the body the other time. But this is about the immune system and understanding our body's defense mechanisms, our defense system. So think of the immune system as being like our military. It's like having the Army, Navy, Marine, Air Force, and Special Forces, right? Now, we don't just have one branch of the military. We have all these branches, right? We have special ops and some other ones that I didn't even mention, right? And each one of those is dedicated to do something different. So let's say the Air Force deals with what we breathe in our respiratory system. Let's say the Navy is what's in our blood. Okay, and Special Forces may be in our digestive system or lymphatic system, but we have all these different departments, all these things that are working, I would say, in their respective areas, but they're also working together. Okay, they all have their own assigned roles for what they do, and collectively they keep us protected. So we have what we call innate and adaptive immunity. And if this gets a little complicated, it's okay because I have classes. There's some other things I'll share. You can again ask for clarification, and at some point we'll go into this site, continue to educate through the Holistic Training Institute. But the innate and adaptive immunities explore the two primary arms of the immune system. Innate immunity, that which we have. We were born, everybody who's born, I want to say healthy, is born with an immune system, with the ability to come into the world and not just breathe the air and die. Okay, not like the boy in the bubble, if you ever saw that program or that any film or anything on that. There are some people who come into the world and they don't have much of an immune system. That's rare. So we normally have an innate immune system, and then we have an adaptive immunity, which develops in response to invaders. And that's invaders, again, through the air, through contact, through what we eat, through what we drink, through a variety of factors. Okay, it means that there are certain things that our body is naturally immune to, and that we typically get that immunity from our mothers, and even more so if we drink breast milk. Okay, so I'm an advocate for that, and I encourage all women to breastfeed your children as well, because whatever immunities you have, and any mammal, same thing. Any mammal, any any being that nurses is getting part of their immune. They're not only getting nourishment, they're not only getting the food that they need, but they're getting immune these immune cells, or these immunities from their parent. So whatever their parent was exposed to, and they developed immunities to that, then they pass it on to the children. Okay, child gets benefits. But if they don't get breastfed, not so much. So whatever was passed through during the pregnancy will go to the baby, but there's some things that they won't get. Okay, so that's one of the first things I look at was whenever I'm talking to people who've had challenges with this in the past as well. Components of the immune system. You've got white blood cells, antibodies, lymphatic system, the spleen, the thymus, the bone marrow. All these are parts of the immune system. And I'm going to break it down relatively simply by saying that the role of the immune system is to recognize, respond, and remember. Recognize, respond, and remember. Recognize what's good for us and what's not. Respond to it by sending in white blood cells, or the lymphocytes and phagocytes and all these different things that will neutralize, keep certain things at bay, that will fight off invaders. Okay, so recognize, respond appropriately by sending in the troops, sending in the reinforcements, sending in the special forces, and then remember, so that if it comes up again, then it's prepared. Okay, so just because, so if there was somebody who was coming and trying to break into your home, and you saw them and you say, hey, get away from here, and they left, just because they put on a hat and some sunglasses or a coat or something else, just because they try to disguise themselves, you still kind of recognize, like, you came around here before. You still need to get out of here. Okay, otherwise it's going to be trouble. Okay, so recognize, respond, and remember. So even if something morphs, adapts, even though if there's something that's a variant, the immune system is designed, is intended to combat whatever that is. Okay, and that's when the immune system is working at its best, to respond to countless threats. Because guess what? It's like the air you're breathing right now, whether there's somebody in the room with you or not, when you go to job, when you go to public, when you go in a variety of places. That's why, they were having us, putting masks on and avoiding contact with other people. Wherever you go, there's all types of bacteria, there's all types of viruses, there are all types of things in the environment that you cannot see. Millions of things that are out there that if your immune system was not working, you would be susceptible, you would get sick, and you would die sometimes in a very short period of time. So that's basically the immune system kind of overview of the immune system. And then ailments that are affected by the immune system, and that's conditions: colds, flu, RSV, COVID-19, cancers, autoimmune disorders. There are a wide variety, more than we can go into in this particular session. Okay. There's a broad impact that this has on not only us individually, but the populations as well, other people. Okay. So it's not just about your particular immune system, it's what happens with your immune system. And if you're infected, if you get ill, how that might be, or exposed to something, how that could extend to the greater population as well, how that it can extend to the family. Because sometimes, in fact, I was talking to a friend of mine at the gym recently, and he said, yeah, doc, he says, my whole family got whatever, the something, the cold or flu or something. Many times you will have people who live in close proximity to each other who will contract something. They'll kind of catch it from someone else, especially if it's something that happens through breathing, through eating, through touch, through kissing and intimacy, those types of things. Now, there are also times when that won't happen. Okay. During COVID, there were times when you had people who, roommates in nursing homes and in hospitals and others, or in certain settings, and one person had COVID and their roommate didn't. Okay. Or one mate had COVID and their significant other, who was sleeping right with them and doing everything with them, living with them, did not get sick. There are reasons for that. Okay. So what happens with us can impact other people, and it can also affect the greater population as well, which is one thing that was happening with some flus and viruses and COVID, where it impacted people worldwide. Okay. There are some medical approaches to immune disorders. So what you're probably most familiar with are the conventional approaches, and there's a number of different things. So so there are medications that they may give for bacteria, for viruses, etc. There are vaccines, and there may be other therapies. Of course, you probably have heard about the breathing treatments, and people being on ventilators, etc. So medicine is doing what they can do based on their the tools that they have within in their own repertoire. Okay, the things that medicine can afford, and then you have let's see, condition specific. So there are certain things that are where they have called protocols, and these protocols are what they do for certain conditions, which means if there's condition A, if a person has a flu, then they'll do X, Y, and Z. They'll give medication. They'll give, they may give certain, medication, vaccination, or treatments, etc. So it'll be different protocols for that. There are advancements. There are some things that are happening when it comes to what we call immunotherapy, especially when it comes to some cancers as well, where they may do chemotherapy and radiation, but they're also looking more to, thank goodness, looking more to what we call immunotherapy or immune system enhancement. Not just doing things that are going to break the immune system down, but some things that are going to improve the immune system as well, and hopefully will help a person to recover and to recover for a longer period of time or be a longer term survivor in the event that they do get something cancer, some cancers, um, and some of these conditions that may not take you out immediately, but will take you out over time or may be recurring. Now, natural approaches to enhancing immunity. This is what you came here for, right? Is to find out what can you do? Well, holistically speaking, and there's always been, we're talking about many of these things go back hundreds, thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, um, or to ancient times. Okay, the earliest medical writings involved some of these approaches, and that's diet, herbs, lifestyle changes. Okay, so here's some of the tips, and I've got something for those of you who want to take a deeper dive with this. I drafted up something. I drafted up, for example, like a week. What would a week of improving your immune system look like? If you were going to kind of have a holistic protocol, what would that look like? Okay. What do you do in terms of that? So I'm going to kind of give you the broad view, but if you want a digital product, if you want more, then let me know. Contact me through support at holistictraininginstitute.com or through the Holistic Training Institute page, and I'll make sure to get that information to you. I want this to be a two-way contact. But first, we're talking about a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, those types of things. Eating the best that you can. Meats, sweets, processed foods, the sugary things, the donuts, the candies, and pop and all that type of stuff, that undermines your immune system. And a lot of this you already know, but you need to put it into practice if to really put together a program. Not about a product, not just about a single product. We hear too much. I hear too much about that, and that gets me every time. It's like, okay, what about X? What about this juice? And what about this sea moss or whatever? It's not just about a product. It's about a program. It's what you do on a regular basis that makes a difference. So one is diet, and then two is also lifestyle. Some of it is herbs, though. I'm gonna talk about some of the herbs. And the more we do, here's a key that I hope you take with you today and forevermore, is that the more things that you're doing on the positive side compared to the other, and the more things you eliminate, the better off that you're going to be. Okay. So here's the thing, is that people will say, well, Dr. Brown, is, what's good? Well, drinking water is good. Okay. Eating fresh fruits and vegetables is good. Okay. Having your salads, and doing your juicing or doing your blending, doing your whole food, doing your grains, preparing foods at home, exercising is good, supplementing with vitamins and minerals and all that. All that's good. It's good individually and it's good collectively. Okay. So if we would have a holistic protocol, it would be, are we getting sleep? Are we meditating? Are we alleviating stress? Are we reducing our exposure to toxins in the air, the food, the water, and environment, stress at work, in our relationships? The more things you do that are on the positive side, good, because that's going to help to balance out the negatives that we're all subject to. Okay? And then we're going to go to diet and immune function, whole foods, plant-based. You're going to hear me talk about this over and over and over again. I'm stuck on it. Most of my life, I've been whole foods, plant-based. Most of my life, I've not eaten meats and some of those things. Now, I know most people are not there. Okay. However, it's not too late to start. If you're alive, if you're breathing, it's not too late to start. Whole foods, plant-based too. There are certain things that are in the food. So you look for foods that are high in vitamin A. I like to call it the ACEs. A, C, E, selenium, okay, and even zinc, okay? This is a this is a vitamin C that I take. This is a a vitamin D3, and everybody needs vitamin D. Everybody needs vitamin D. Everybody needs vitamin D. We don't get enough sun. We don't get enough exposure. Our bodies to the sun, doesn't get enough exposure to the sun in this, especially in this in colder climates. And if you're not out in the sun, and if you can, take vacation in the sun and expose as much of your body as possible. Yeah, get kind of, I'm not gonna say go to a nudist camp, but expose your body to the sun. We need it, especially melanated people, especially people of color. And then because there is a link between diet and our immunities. Absolutely a link between diet and immunities. Okay. I mean, all the scientific evidence, I don't think there's hardly anybody that disagrees with that. That what we eat is going to deter is a great determining factor, perhaps the greatest determining factor in whether or not we're going to get sick and the type of illnesses we have and whether or not we are going to recover from that as well. Okay. Cancers are rampant. And again, the COVID, again, you can mask up all you want to. You can avoid people if you want to. You can be afraid and do all this. But greater is he that is within me than he that is within the world. Okay. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do us no harm. I'm going to say that again. If there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do us no harm, which means that more so than the colds and the viruses and germs and all that, because people gotta avoid germs, okay? Gotta avoid germs, gotta avoid germs, gotta contact with germs. It's not even just about the germs, it's about how strong, how fortified your system is, okay? The United States is not going to get invaded. Countries don't get invaded if they have strong forces, if they're fortified. And that can be controversial for some people, but the analogy is that if we're really strong internally, okay, because again, the nutrition is there, exercise, the lymphatic system, our circulatory system, and everything is working, okay, not suppressing it by poisoning it every day, several times a day, then we have greater chance of not contracting some certain things and recovering. Okay. So that's diet, that's supplementation. And then here's some of the herbs that can be used as well. Okay. Some of you know that I teach herbology, about medicinal herbology. That's the which herbs are medicines, which herbs are here for nutrition as well as to heal us from the conditions that we oftentimes would become subject to. Okay, so what are some of those things? And I'm just going to point out a couple of my favorites. So one is echinacea, and that's what looks like echinacea, ECHINACEA, echinacea purpurea. And that's something that you could use on an ongoing basis. Many times people use it in times of colds and such. Zinc is something very, very good. Ginger is good for the digestive system. A lot of the problems that we have, even though this seems to be, I say this is a immune challenge, the digestive system is always involved when there's something that's going on with the respiratory system or with our immune system. If our gut health, if our gut bacteria is not what it should be, we're going to be more susceptible, which is one reason why some of us got enemas whenever we got sick. That's why some of us got castor oil and got cleaned out, or the medicines that we got were designed to clean us out. We're designed to purge waste from our system. We're designed to get the enemy within out of our bodies, so our temperatures would go down, so our fevers would go down, so our body would recover much more quickly, or we get a hot toddy so that our temperature would elevate to the point where it was uncomfortable, it was not compatible for these viruses and bugs to take hold and keep hold of us for a period of time. Okay, so we recover. Okay, so those were the natural things that mom and grandmom and them did. And turmeric is another one. You'll hear me talk about turmeric over and over again. Anti-inflammatory is good for a number of things. They talk about black seed oil, or black or cumin, and and how beneficial that is for inflammation, for the immune system, for all types of things. And so there's a couple of things that are going on there. That's one, you're having, when you have this complement of herbs, and some of them are giving nutritional benefits as foods to supplement and give our body what it needs, and others are designed to move waste out. Okay, I kind of call the ABCs, that is designed to activate, build, or cleanse, or do some combination. Activate, build, or cleanse. For those future herbalists and such, those people who are going to study some more, just think activate, build, and cleanse. What is this doing? What is this drug doing? What is this nutrient doing? What is this supplement doing? Is it activating a system so it's more, so because if it's sluggish, it needs to be activated, it needs to be enhanced. Is it building it up? Is it giving it nutrition? Or is it cleansing something out? Is it getting some impurity, some toxin, some waste, some congestion, some blockage out? Okay. So different things that we take and different things that we do. And that's why I say it's not just one thing. Because there's no one thing that activates, builds, cleanse, that does everything for everybody for every condition. It's not just about mucus. It's not just about your pH. It's about entire program or protocol. It's about what we do from day to day, and with and whether the preponderance, the majority of what we do is benefiting our bodies, or the majority of what we do is undermining it by degrees. Okay, we normally get sick by degrees. Most things don't take us out. We don't normally eat something, and in 15 minutes we're dying or dead. Okay, we normally get poisoned slowly. The things that undermine our health typically happen slowly and over time. We notice we get more colds, more flus, more viruses. Our energy level gets low, where we don't recover as fast. And we attribute that to aging as opposed to how we treat our bodies. Okay. Don't do the same thing with your car. You take good care of your car, it usually lasts a good long time. Long time. Better you do with oil changes, maintenance, the longer you expect it to last. Same thing with the body. Okay. So diet and immune system, our ability to, our likelihood of contracting all that makes major difference. Some other lifestyle factors: exercise, 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 exercise. Not just how many steps you take in a day, but are you getting your heart rate up? Are you getting your respiratory system, activated? Are you breathing, in and out? Is your body moving? The heart pumps the blood. That's good for your circulation, and that's necessary. The more of a couch potato, the more stagnant, the more still you are, the weaker that your body will become, the more susceptible you'll become. You'll get to all kinds of things. Okay, so practically no matter what the condition that you have, they want you up and out of the bed and moving around. That's going to help you. So exercise and stimulation and circulation is important. And for our lymphatic system, for our immune, so that part of the immune system that flows throughout the body from the top of our head all throughout. Okay, we've heard of our lymph nodes all through here, and it centralizes here and through our trunk and digestive system, and into our reproductive organs and cells. And again, from the top of our head to the tips of our fingers and all the way to the tips of our toes, we have a lymphatic system that is designed to protect us, that is designed to address all types of invaders and things that would challenge the body. That is not moved by a pump like the heart is. that's moved through exercise, that only can flow and function when there's movement. So the more you move, the more active that lymphatic system is going to function, the better you're going to do. So, contrary to what perhaps what your doctor may say, or some advice you may get, is it one of the best things that you can do. In fact, they also found this out through the experience with COVID. Is like, wow, we had a lot of people on respirators and laying back and in beds, when some people really needed to be out and exercising and breathing and in some fresh air. Some people really need to be more active. Okay. So regular physical activity is going to boost immune system response, reduce inflammation, improve infection defense. Your body's going to be stronger with exercise, not weaker. So don't just, if somebody, you get sick, there's a period of time. Sometimes people need to get their rest, but you also need to get up and move. And if you're healthy, if you're well, you need to move every day. I say move every day. I'm in the gym practically every day. I'm in the gym, I'm outside, I'm running, I'm moving. You find the longest lived societies and or people in society and people in communities around the world are they're gardening, they're doing some kind of exercise, they're riding bicycles, they're doing Tai Chi, they're doing some kind of movement, and typically every day, and sometimes a few times a day. Sometimes they'll have breakfast, do something in the morning, and they have breakfast, and they're moving, having lunch and moving, or whatever. They're moving throughout the day. They have something that's going on. People, they have hobbies, they have skills that are physically doing something, tend to last longer, have a higher quality of life, as well as longer quantity of years than people who don't. Stress management. Okay, so sleep. Adequate sleep, vital. We need sleep. Yes, we need sleep every day. Some people, if they didn't, if sleep didn't overtake them, they would try not to sleep. Some people want to work shifting, double shifting, odd shifts in the afternoons and all that. Working afternoons, working midnights, not getting enough sleep, working as much as you can is not a good strategy. It may be a strategy for some to accumulate wealth. They may think that's a good idea, but tends to shorten your lifespan. And again, the quality of life, which is just as important. So sleep, what do you need? 6-8 hours or so for our lymphatic system to rebuild, for our body to take a break from eating, from being so busy, and get our mind and our body and everything a break. And then to manage stress as well. Okay. So if you have a stressful job, if you have a stressful relationship, if you're in a stressful, whatever is causing you stress, whatever your SOS is, they call it, your source of stress, you needed to get a break from that. So some people will do that through meditation. Some of the people will do that through breathing. For me, I'll tell you, in fact, one of my former staff would say this. If he noticed that I was kind of edgy, and he would show up in terms of how I speak, yeah, it happens even with me. Okay. So he would notice if I was edgy or something, if I was like off kilter, he'd know something. He'd say, Dr. Brown, yeah. I say, yeah. He says, have you run today? Or when's the last time you ran? Because he knows that I'm in my happy place. He knows that if I've run, practically anything can happen, and it's not going to bother me. I am so chill if I've had a run. Okay. So if I go to town, we go out of the country, wherever I go, I schedule my runs. I schedule my gym time. I schedule my out time. That's me taking care of me so I can take care of other people as well. So sleep, a way to manage stress, meditation, yoga, mindfulness, Tai Chi, prayer, breathing exercises. There's a wide variety of things that are available that we're learning more and more about that is beneficial for our health and well-being. And then, of course, substance abuse, avoiding the things that we know are going to be negative to us. I guess what alcohol consumption, especially our regular alcohol consumption, There are some who say best amount of alcohol consumption to have is zero. Okay, not even wine for your, for its benefits or something. But some people are drinking on a regular basis. Some people are drinking, smoking. Is again eating sugary things and processed things. Some people, that's almost all they have. They hardly ever have anything fresh. Closest thing they have to a salad is a piece of tomato and lettuce on a burger, or a side of their steak or something. Okay, we need to get more of the fresh things, more exercise, be more chill if we want to have more life. Okay. And preventing and managing the immune related elements naturally. Here's some things we can do. So hand washing is that important? Sure. Yeah, wash your hands. Um, you know, masking is an option, and some people are still doing that. I think people might always have masks. We thought that Michael Jackson was weird when he had a mask on, but we never heard about him getting COVID, right? But having masks, and by the way, if you're gonna have a mask, I say put a little essential oil on it. In fact, there's something that I really, 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 really am hyped on, and it's called oregano. And it is a type of essential oil, or it's a medicinal oil and substance. And I say, and I've got to caution people on this. I say, if you're gonna wear the mask, put a little bit of this on there. You can have a little aromatherapy as you're breathing this in. So if you believe that the mask is keeping you from viruses or bacteria contracting something, or even putting that out, if you put a little essential oil on there, and I say very little, because I had one person there, my eyes were tearing up. Yeah, I said, how much did you put on? I put about 5, 6. You put on too much. A little essential oil, a little some of the substances that I recommend and I share with people, you only need a little bit to get a profound effect. But you put a little bit of this on that mask, and you're breathing that in. You're getting a treatment. You're kind of conditioning the air as well. So it's not just a barrier; it's a benefit. Okay, you're breathing this in. You're getting this. It's filtering on a higher level. It's antimicrobial, antifungal, antibacterial, it's antiseptic. Okay, very powerful. I recommend this one specifically. There's one other company that has one that's, I believe, is equivalent to this, but um, put that on the mask. Put some. You can put. You also use it in your mouth. And I tell you, I would be here for a day if I told you all the different conditions that I saw this address over time. You're getting a cold, you're getting a flu, you're getting something's going on, you catch it early stage. You hit it with this, oh my goodness. And I haven't seen it fail yet. In over 20 years, probably 25 years that I've been recommending, have not seen it fail yet. Okay. It's not something to use every day. And there's some teas, some things that you can use on a regular basis to keep your immune system strong. Vitamin C you use every day. Vitamin D you can have every day. Um, your garlic and your garlic and onions. There's some things you have every day because you're feeding, you're nourishing, you're building up your immune system with that. And then there are other things that you're taking at times of need when there's a challenge or when there's a crisis. Okay. So staying hydrated. That means water, not just juice. It means water, 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 water. The purest water that you can have, non-chlorinated, ideally. You need to have a source of purification in your home. Um, and water, 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 vitally important. There's some other things you can put in there that helps as well, but hydration is vitally important for flushing, for nourishing all your cells. Your trillions of cells need water. Herbal teas, elderberry. Elderberry tea you can have on a regular basis. You can have some elderberry drops and syrups and such. Echinacea, ginger, our antiviral will help, will give your body that boost so you can get your basic nutrition first. And that's in what you eat in a wide variety of your fruits and vegetables and all the colors. And then you build on that with your herbs, with your nutritional herbs that and your supplements that build your immune system and keep it at its peak so the white blood cells and all that stuff is functioning. Okay. And then you add your exercise onto that. And then you can do your protective things as well, your mask and whatever. That'll be a bonus. But you want to have a strong internal environment, strong gut biome, strong immune system, strong digestive system, strong kidneys and liver, and your organs of digestion, your organs of elimination are functioning as they need to, as they are intended. You're not supposed to be sick. Okay? Okay. So, and if you get sick, you're supposed to recover more quickly. One of the first things that happened when I started making my changes is it's not that I never get sick or didn't get sick. And in fact, sometimes I'll have my brushes, something will happen. But you know what it does? It gives me feedback and says, Doc, guess what? You need a vacation. You need to get your rest. You have been, you've been burning the candle at both ends. That's my nature. I tend to be high energy, and sometimes that happens. Okay. So if so sometimes stress comes from the outside, and sometimes it comes from the inside. So I need to get my rest. I need to do those things. I need to pay attention to this, and I need to do all these things as well. Okay. So whether you're a high level performer or wherever you are, we need to have our own individual program that'll help us. Anyway, so that pretty okay. So conclusion, okay, empower your health. Integrate your natural and medical approaches. I do believe in going to the doctor. I definitely go to the doctor. I want them to check me out and say, hey, this is what your blood pressure, blood sugar, and this and that and other thing is. But my approaches are holistic. What I do, there's something that's going on. I say, okay, what's my most natural approach to alleviating that? And there's nothing that has not been managed elsewhere, otherwise since I had to get surgery into my tonsils out years ago. So you can integrate the two. They're not in conflict. Be proactive in terms of your health management. Be aware of what's going on in your community. I encourage you to be the healer in your home, the healer in your family, the healer in your community, and to do what you can to help yourself and your loved ones. In fact, when you help other people, that benefits you as well. That definitely absolutely has benefit to your immune system, to you all together. You not only feel good about it, but it has a broader, a more extensive benefit than just to you individually. Okay. Anyway, the time we have left. One, if you are on the call and you've not filled out the survey, if you filled out the survey, thank you. If you haven't filled out the survey, and for those of you who just joined us, I want you to go to the survey immediately and fill the information out. It helps me to give information. The information is confidential. I don't share that with anybody. I don't know who fills it out individually. It's just for me to get a gauge of where people are at and how I can best serve. Okay. And anybody who knows me knows I operate in integrity. I'm not, there's nothing nefarious about this. I'm asking some questions so I know how to structure the calls, the information, and the classes, etc. Now, the other thing is, so fill out the survey, please. And I want to, get that now. And if I've got time, I'll share the results. In fact, for those of you who are in Zoom, if you'll stay here beyond the 11 o'clock hour, beyond the hour of the call, I will share the results with you as well. Okay. Two, if you're interested in our courses on the Holistic Training Institute, through the Holistic Training Institute, okay, mission is to train healers in every home, in every family, in every community. Our mission is to help close the health disparities and the wealth disparities. Okay, we can't be too healthy, we can't be too wealthy, we can't be too wise. Okay, so this is to help us to understand ourselves, our loved ones, So ideally, we're avoiding a lot of the ailments, a lot of the chronic ailments and problems that we're having. And so we have, and we can benefit future generations as well. Okay. There'll be more videos on YouTube and that I'll be doing on an ongoing basis based on about 40 years that I've been doing this kind of work and involved in studying in this area. So I want to share this with you before I say my final goodbye. I want to share this with my community. I want to share this for now and for future generations as well. Okay. So one, please fill out the survey. Two, we got questions. Then is there a link to the survey? So the survey, let me take a look here. So I'm concluding. One, I'm going to conclude um, I'm going to conclude that. Let's see. So the poll is open. It'll say immune system poll. And yeah, the 12 questions that are in there. So again, if you're not seeing the poll, I'm not sure how to make it come back up, but there should be a poll that pops up. There should be a poll somewhere. I know where to access it, but I don't know where you can access this. So please fill out the poll. And then let's see. And then I believe do we have a question from our audience from either Facebook or from the Zoom room?
Hey, Jesse,
I
I have
have
a
a
question.
question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Beverly?
Oh,
You go
yeah.
ahead, baby.
Well, okay. I was gonna ask a couple questions, but
Yeah.
my first question though, relevant to you mentioned water. It's so funny. Everything you talked about is just what I was reading about last night, and it had nothing to do with your program today. I didn't know it was going to be about this, but the water. I was talking to my friend about how I used to drink more water when I kept bottled water in the house, but all these stories about the plastic and drinking from the plastic bottle uh, is bad for you. So I'm not drinking as much water. Do you think that there's a difference between the tap or the water bottle? I mean, do you think the bottled water is a problem?
Okay. Your question is about water. Okay, so
Hmm.
I'll answer that directly. One, tap water is not the best. Chlorine, fluorine, lead, mercury, trihalomethanes. I've been studying this uh, for a very long time, for at least 40 years. I've been studying um, about the quality of water, what it does. We definitely need a higher quality of water. Ideally, you'll have a system in your home that will purify the water. Okay. It would take another call just on water. I may have just a call just on water and the benefits of water and that sort of thing. Okay. Water that comes, if you're going to purchase it, water that comes in a bottle from a spring generally is best. There are some other options as well, because um, nanoplastics and all these types of things, how long it's been in there, does make a difference when it is in plastic. In fact, when we were doing water through through Detroit Holistic Center, we went from doing it in plastic containers to glass. People were resistant because it was a little heavier and it costs a little more, but overall is better. And again, that's going to take a call all in itself. Okay, we've got another question, and then we're about to wrap things up. Was that Justin who had a question?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Now, just a quick question. Two things. So I know you and we kind of had some offline conversations about being plant based and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I guess one of the questions that I had is when it comes to being plant based, is it a situation where yes, overall going plant based is good? However, how do you determine which food is better for you than others? And is that something you need to study about? Is that something? How do we go about finding out that information? Because overall plant based is good, but maybe you don't. Your body doesn't respond to certain foods. How do you go about finding out? Okay, you're going to be plant based, but these foods are better for you than these foods. How do you go about doing that?
Sure. Well, one you have an understanding of yourself, and then your in your body and what it needs and what it responds to. There's something that's called biochemical individuality, right? And biochemical individuality is just a $10 phrase meaning that everybody's different. So there are some rules that are generally true for most people, and there are some exceptions to the rule. Again, because I had a sister who was allergic to strawberries. So people, you say, if you ask people, strawberries good for you. Oh yeah, strawberries are great. Berries are great, but she was allergic to it. So ideally, if you're working with someone, if you're trying to get a more comprehensive or specialized nutritional program for you, you want someone who understands these three basic things: assessment, treatment, and then maintenance. Okay. Assessment means they're assessing you and addressing you and your nutritional needs and what your body responds to, etc. And then there's a treatment plan or a dietary program, and then and then there's a way of maintaining, but also monitoring and measuring to see how your body responds. Okay, because there are some people they're not going to respond to certain nuts and seeds or whatever, even if it's natural. Okay, so there again, there are some things that are generally true, and even the experts disagree on various things. So you got to know who's going by science and who to listen to, and then and even investing in a program that would be more customized to you. Okay, so we are at time again. Please, if you if
Is
you
there
if
do
you
you have
if
any
you if
recommendations?
Okay, I need you to pause there a second. I'm gonna extend on for Zoom for just a little while. But the please fill out the survey. Secondly, we'll be on same time next week, same sign in, etc. And on Facebook, we'll be addressing some other things. If you're interested in studying in some other information, some things will be on YouTube, other things will be through the classes, through the Holistic Training Institute, um, so you can understand what you need and what you can do for yourself, your loved ones, your community, even professionally. I'll be in California in a couple of weeks to the conference, and I'll be bringing some things back as well. I'll be starting classes soon. So if you're interested, go to support at holistictraininginstitute.com. That's support at holistictraininginstitute.com. Go to Holistic Training Institute online. There's a free course on 10 herbs every home needs for everyone to take. I invite you to get started there and hit me up. Keep in touch. Don't just come in on Saturdays and think you're going to get it all because you can't. I can't put 30 plus years of information in a few hours, relatively few hours. Okay. So we're going to shut things down on Facebook. I want to thank those people who are on Facebook. And if I didn't get a chance to answer your questions, then still reach out to me. And let's see. We so we should be off Facebook. And so some of you can hold in the Zoom room.